Hi fellas, folks, how are you doing all? So as it will probably say on the description, cave tour. I've wanted to, I've come up with that series of me, myself and Styrene, which is people if you're new to the channel, whatever. Basically I came up with that. It's going to be a series on me and how I got around modelling and started modelling and bits and bobs, you know, and what I do in my hobby and what I use and all that type of thing. But I designed it because I want to show you guys that are interested in me why I don't know, and in the hobby, the way I do the hobby, not me in particular. And I thought it'd be pretty good because I designed it so it would be like an ongoing thing. So it's not going to be 3 or 4 videos and then that's it, or it's not going to be one a month sort of thing. It's just going to be when something that I'm interested in, I'm doing or something, and I can be asked to film in a nutshell, because half the time I can't be asked. I was going to do this 3 days ago, but it's taken me till then to be asked, basically. I'd like to say that I'm really busy, but I'm not. Anyway, so one thing I did want to do though, and I thought it would be pretty cool, is I want to do a yearly cave tour. So each year I can do a cave tour and see whereabouts we've come, and how far I've come perhaps with builds that we've got on the shelf, or what it was like last year and what it's like now. I just think it's going to be quite good just to keep a bit of a record, not only for you guys but for me as well. It'd just be nice to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up, turn you off, and then next thing you'll know is I'll be behind the camera walking around in the cave. Now the cave is how I like it now. It's how I do it. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong, in case anybody's moaning. It's how I like it. I'll go through and pick some tools out that I like, although that is a different video for another time, and I'll just basically show you around the cave. It's no way in boasting, it's no way of saying I've got more than you, because you know I've worked hard for what I've got, and I don't apologise to anybody for what I have. So yeah, that's it. So hopefully it'll work, and I'll see you in a bit. So see you in a minute, boys, girls, bye. So hi guys, so we start outside as normal. There's a couple of recent builds. I don't want to say recent. The Spitfire is quite a bit old. Last year I think I did that, and that's to the Warts and All group build. It's the finished BT 42. And what I do is when I'm displaying models, I tend to cut out the end of one of the boxes so that in the future I can always look back and say, oh right, that was the kit, you know, and this is what it was and whatever. So I thought it'd just be a good thing to do. Right, so the cave is my room basically in the house. Okay, so this is where I come in through the door, and this is what it looks like. Over there is the spray booth, which I'll get over to there in a bit. There's the window, so I don't need a vent. Over there is bookshelves, and then if I zoom back, up here it's just some stash that I've got that I'm hoping to try and get hold of and do sometime this year, with some ideas and that, but they're just some bits that I've brought out of it. My stash is in the garage, so it's out of the way. So there's me pride and joy Star Wars film poster, Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi, and then there's just a bit of a family of Braden, and who's my son, and there's his first ever football top, Port Vale FC, my pride and joy. So right, so we come in, and firstly we have a shelf, and then there's my IDF group build diorama, and then there's me Ernst Bartman one. Now those of you will know that is actually a Stug 3 House G. I swapped it because Braden has got the Panther over at his mum's house because he took it to school for a history thing. Now down there is where I do my building, construction and sort of bits of research. There's my TV, and there is a few DVDs that I enjoy watching. I have got a load more DVDs, but they're in the spare room out the way. There's just a couple of shows that I absolutely love. So there you go. So let's put some light on the matter. So this is the first part of my research library. I absolutely adore my books, as you all know. You'll hear an annoying flaming dog next door. They leave it out all day and it just barks and barks. It's so bad. There's a few Squadron books and bits and bobs there. Then we come down to the next shelf, which we've got all of the Osprey books in that I've got. There's my Darth, Captain America, and there is the M4 T8 pattern, and the old Tamiya tank, but I did it in the Egyptian or Iraqi markings, I think. I can't remember now. So there's some of them, and then we come down to the next shelf, which we come down to the Matilda, which is Tamiya kit again, and then up here, that is some of the weathering magazines, books and stuff, and then I've just got quite a few different types of books. That one there was very kindly off Gav Booth, my mucker. And then I've got a couple of the diorama landscapes of war books, which I absolutely love. They really are good. And then we come down to the bottom shelf, and then I've got a few more books that are all down there. Some different titles and various other bits. So the next thing I'll get out of the way is my little trolley. So there's my bench, okay, and this is the chair I use. It's got it off Amazon, I think, or eBay. It's a bit of a gaming chair, but it's just comfort. Both the arms lift up if I want it to. So I will now come and sit. I'll turn my lamp on. This is I think it's a Lightcraft lamp, which is just one of those where you can move up and down and various other. And then I got this cheaper one off Amazon. I think Michael Booth Mod Art 633's got one now, and it's remote control. You can turn it all on and off on that. So I'm sitting down, and this is my view. Clipboard where I keep my instructions of what I'm building. There's my first Bandai kit ever. There's my channel logo. Then I've got my pens and pencils and everything there, and my magnetic strip there, which I keep my scissors and a couple of photo etch tools there. And then this little thing is my doody little Hoover, which Greg Riley told me about to get, and it's just quite handy for getting some bits up, you know, on your desk and that. And we come over here, and then this is basically a turntable for kitchen spices and bits like that. So I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. So I've basically got my masking tape, glue holders, all of me decor materials and bits and bobs on there. This, guys, now there's a bit of a thing going around recently for masking fluids and stuff. Now this is the one I use, Masking Sol R. Now this is the sort of rubbery stuff, and it's really good, and it can be cut dead easy. The other one is the one that's not very good because it just doesn't dry very well. I've tried them both, and this is definitely the one. Those of you that still use the old Humbrol Maskol, I do use that sometimes if I've run out of this, but be deadly careful, guys, because I didn't realise that if you leave it on, especially a clear bit, for a piece of plastic for quite any length of time, it actually rots the plastic, which I didn't realise. So yeah, Then I keep on the bottom shelf is all my glues. So these are my main two glues I go to, which is the extra thin straight away stick, which is great, immediate stick or whatever you call it, and then the normal extra thin. Then if I'm building aircraft, I like this glue, which is it's like a liquid look. It's like a liquid type glue, but it lasts longer. It doesn't evaporate dead easy, and I knew this was going to happen. And then for my super glues, I used to use the Deluxe Materials stuff. However, I now use this the Zap stuff. It's really good. So that's the one I mainly use, the green one. And then I use the sort of that if I need a quick bond. And then that's sort of my diorama bits and pieces because it's quite thick. I actually use this for adding rust onto models and that, so when it glues and it's quite thick, you can make it look like rust, you know, and paint it up and that, as though the paint on the vehicle is sort of bubbled, you know, when you get that rust underneath the paintwork. So that's quite good for that. And then for my armour stuff and that, it needs quite a bit thicker glue, is just the Rival stuff I use, which I think is really good. And then the white glues, this is my favourite one, the Micro Crystal Clear for sticking canopies. However, I have tried this one this year, which is the Zap stuff, canopy glue, and yeah, it's good, very good. And then the Gorilla stuff is just for like dioramas and stuff, and that's my clear PVA glue, which I can use for water and stuff. Got it from the Works, I think, for £1.50, which is a boot shop and craft sort of shop in Britain. A little Lego R2-D2, and that is my soldering iron. And then these are those, what do you call them, that are stuck together by these little magnets and a bit of glue. What a ball ache. You know, as much as they look nice when they're all built up, I would not want one of the whole set, because that pissed me off trying to build that. It really did. So in these I've got my riveting tools, which is Rosie the Riveter, and then I've just got like other little bits, the RB Productions one, which personally I think is better than Rosie's and cheaper. And then I've just got all these extra bits. That's actually a wallpaper cutter, but I found it useful before for putting panel lines back in and put things. And then I've just got like your little bits, like, you know, your riveter, engraver and all that type of bits and bobs stuff, you know. So that's that. Got to put it all back now, guys. So I'll tell you what I'll do, just leave it there, bugger it. And then I've got my craft saws that I use in that one, and me little pins, cotton pins and stuff. And then in that one is my photo etch tools. So I've got the tweezers, razor blades, special blade for cutting it sort of thing. The Tamiya scissors, which are very good. However, just as good are these little things, which are 99p from any sort of shop that sells scissors. Photo etch bender, don't need a bigger one than that, that'll do me. And then what I use for bending photo etch around stuff and making it so it's all circular and that and bent is just basically wooden dowels cut to shape. Got a few different ones, and then I've got that you sort of put over to hold in the photo etch while you cut it, so you can see through what you're cutting. It's not a bad little tool. And then the obligatory milk bottle top for your super glue. And then I have a bit of blue tack that the top goes on, so that when I get the cocktail stick in there, it doesn't move or slip. So that's them. Put them back in later. And then some of my decor tools, water pens and stuff. And then I showed you that one. And then in this one, it's just the bigger sort of saws and that won't fit in there. So I come over to here. Now this is my doody little trolley. Now that's what it looks like from there. So I've got Darth Vader with my go-to sanders, which are basically the Flory Models ones, and then I do quite like the UMP razor one, the sandpaper, the very thick one, and I also like the buffers, and then that one from UMP as well, so that's quite good. These are all my brushes, my go-to brushes. These should be labelled with a red little bit, a stripy red, which is my oil, just for oils. Toothbrushes and stuff for cleaning your sanders and that with, and then a sort of plastic paintbrush for masking fluids and stuff. Then my weathering brushes, which tend to use MIG ammo and stuff. And these are just like your flat brushes and your bigger brushes. And then here's my detail brushes, which I use quite a few. I try and use Winsor & Newton basically, and I've just recently last year bought some Series 7, which are brilliant. They really are, really good stuff. Then your obligatory cocktail sticks, the Tamiya and Mr. Hobby earbuds and stuff, then usual earbuds, then some matches, white tack, and then some trays for washes and stuff. Burner clips for aircraft and alike, and then I just use these, which are normal clothes pegs but with the rubber ends, which are great. I love them, I've used them for years, they're brilliant. And then we come down to this bottom one. I've got my go-to sprue cutters. I've had these since I was a boy. Brilliant Revell ones. I just love them. They're so comfy in my hand and they still work. And then my Xuron ones or something. Razor blades. And then I've got a Pro Edge razor blade that has got that end. Let's take it off. Oh, where are you now? There. And basically it just moves around like that. So that I use that for decals and stuff, so you know, when it's hard to get in places, because it's sort of, the blade is easy to manoeuvre. Then my tweezers, and then me drill bits, and then these new AK little drill bits that you use for your fingers. You don't need any grips or anything on them, but they're very good, them are. Then my files for photo etch, and tiny little jeweler's files. And then I've got one of these, which is what they're called. I can't think what these are called. Polyester, is it, or something like that? They're good for getting rid of ejector pin marks and stuff. That's an AK one, I think. Yeah. And then I've got a sanding sponge there for Tamiya, and then I've got the Mr. Hobby drill bits, which are all different types of sizes. Then in the bottom I've got my baby wipes, best invention ever known to man, my gloves, burnishing fluid, hairspray decanted, water, airbrush cleaner, normal water in a spray thing, washing up liquid, surgical spirit, which cleans absolutely everything, and then decorator's lacquer thinner, which strips the enamel off your teeth. Then there's the workplace I work. Underneath I've got all my wires and bits of that I use, spare decals and all of that, and then some plastic card. My putties, my go-to putties, which I tend to use that one, which are all good, and then of course sprue glue, and then perfect plastic putty, which is good. Then here's all my masking tapes, my spare bits, decorator stuff, double-sided spongy tape, and then I mentioned this in my last one, my RDF build for slings for the weapons. Jammy Dog, it comes in 1mm, 75, 0.75mm, 0.5mm and 1mm. You can get bigger ones as well, but that is brilliant stuff, really good stuff. Then I've got all my stuff for masking, for your wheels, old masking Edward masks that of course, you know, I don't use anymore, but there's some spare, so I use that. Then your Panzer putty, which is good stuff, and then the airbrushing masks for splatter and all that type of stuff. A circle maker, so you can do your wheel masks if you wanted to. And then these are actually washers, basically, little rubber washers, look. Now they're good for using as masks on missiles and circular bits, because you can find the size, roll it on, spray away, and then there you go, masked up. Great stuff. Then I've got my cutting board, the AK one, number 2, and then at the bottom should be my oils. Yeah, so my favourite oils are your Abteilung, but I do like, I've just got that just to try, I don't particularly like them. Winsor & Newton are great, I love Winsor & Newton, but Abteilung are my favourite go-to oils. Then that there is my research material on the build that I'm doing at the minute, spare plugs, and then that there is just basically paper, a stand for sticking my tablet on if I want it, and just some line paper just in case. Then we have these set of drawers. So in the top one is my geek goggles, my wet palette, my hand drill, extra bits, a third hand, and then the lenses for this geek goggles, and then some spare blades, and oh yeah, then fiberglass refills for the fiberglass pen. And in that one I've got all my electrical stuff, so I've got a blue microphone, which is brilliant, that was off Paul Ing, which thank you Paul. Hand drill, which I use, spare earphones, that's my webcam, and my webcam I use is the Logitech one, I think it's a great one, and then there's my decal cup warmer for my decals. Bottom are all my spare figures from builds and that I don't use anymore, and stuff I've got from off the internet and wherever. Ernst Bartman I use him as. And then obviously spare bits that I've used from that I haven't used out of kit boxes and stuff. That's just a spare cutting mat that I put on top of this one on my desk because it keeps it clearer. Then that is full of my all old instructions, a bench thingy-me-jiggy, and then I stuck some screws in the edge of my desk, and then just added some extra plugs there. Pens and everything like that, like I've shown. Here's all my series, my DVDs, there's my TV, Skybox, and then my Walking Deads. I've got every single one apart from the new series it's on. And then I've got all of the Game of Thrones, which I like. Street Talk, I don't know if any of you can remember Street Talk. Black Motorcycle back in the 80s. And then Shetland, I love Shetland. And Generation Kill, which is a TV series in America, all about the the Americans and in the Humvees and that. And then one of my favourite comedy series, Men Behaving Badly, and then Only Fools and Horses. Then we come over to my airbrush area, and some drawers here first. So the cleaning fluids and mask and stuff, all my paint sets and that in that drawer. That's come out, which is typical. These are basically all my pigments and just spare palettes and stuff. And then in the bottom are all my glosses that I use. Alclads, Tamiya new lacquers and stuff. That basically means it's airbrush ready and it's been thinned with the Mr. Leveling Thinner. One dot is the Tamiya thinner. Sad, aren't I? Then on top, this is what the paints I'm using at the minute. My model colour ones. Rubber gloves that are used but not completely dirty. Paint mixer. Sharpie for marking up stuff, and then my airbrush cleaning for my airbrush cleaning for cleaning my airbrush brushes. Fire extinguisher, because we work with chemicals and you never know when you'll need one. Paint rack up here, which has got basically, let's have a look. You've got your Tamiya's and your AK real colours. Mr. Metalize, I tell you what, instead of being lazy, let's stand up, eh? So there's my paints. And then I've decided that I like the AK enamel washes and stuff. I do like some of the MIG stuff, but not all that much. I prefer AK for some reason. So there's all them. Then I've got a few of the Tamiya lacquers. Then these are just like mini bits of photo etch masks and stuff that I can use. My airbrushes get stopped in there. There's my primer, my go-to primers, which are Styrene, and then that AK one is shit, so don't use that. A couple of like real life colour paints, and then my bigger Vallejo one. Then we come round, there's me outside. So here's my airbrush. Let's put I've got another one of those light plan lights or whatever they're called. So my airbrush station is basically a couple of ring binders that go around there. And then if it's going to be smells and that, I just open the window and they all go out. My airbrushes of choice are all H&S, Harder and Steenback. I'm using this grip at the minute that I got off the internet, really good, only a couple of quid, because I've started with arthritis in my fingers, so I struggled to airbrush for any long time. So that's the Ultra, and then I've got the Evolution, and then very kindly off pooling again, I've got the Infinity. That's for my detail work. That I don't use that all that much. This is the workhorse. This is the cheapest one on the market, and it's brilliant. It's so hard going. It's just brilliant. It's like bloody an Abrams tank. Awesome. Then I've got my pot cleaner and then my airbrush. A couple of stands there, and then there's all my thinners that I use. That's another tray for another project that I'm working on as paints, so I don't sort of get lost. I know where they all are. Here's my thinners I use. Sansador for me oils, because it's not as harsh as terps and stuff. That's what I use to thin my Tamiya paints. I love the Tamiya paints, and I have actually got one of the lacquer thinners now, but for the AK stuff I actually use the AK real colours thinner, because it is quite good, that one is, for the AK stuff. There's my compressor underneath, which is just a Badger one, I believe. And then on a toilet roll holder, which is toilet roll holder, is my kitchen roll and blue roll spare plugs, and then the obligatory Mark 1 hairdryer. Turntables. Then I got this a couple of weeks ago, well actually before Christmas, for sticking your aircraft on and stuff. You can you can take them around everywhere with that, transport them around. Another turntable, foam, polystyrene for sticking your dry bits in, your bits that you've airbrushed to dry. And then I've got all of I haven't got all of them, but they are my my Tamiya acrylics. Then model colour, and then up the top there on this one is my Panzer Aces. And then we come down to the side of the airbrush station, where I've got all my drawers, which basically have got photo etching, all my weapons for 135th. Photo etch that's not used from kits and everything, then that's all my vehicle stowage for 135th. 148 stuff for aircraft, then my cocktails, my skewers, barbecue skewers with crocodile clips on the end, my airbrush cleaning equipment, drill bits, pipettes, go on eBay, get them dead cheap. Hundreds. My extras for kits, they've extras for vehicles. So like we've got where are we? Metal barrels and stuff, and all that type of stuff in there. So that's all the vehicle stuff. Pegs, more pegs for clamping stuff together. Some chisels, some the rubber ended tools or whatever they are. Some of the tweezers that grip stuff on their own. More mixing bits. Old coffee jar lids and stuff to use for mixing, and paint palettes. They're all my spare tracks and fuel tracks. And then at the bottom is just all bits of spare bits, bit like all my plastic spoons that I've paint tested stuff and that on. Then we've just got a smaller set of drawers, which there isn't much stuff in there, so there's not much point showing you anything. And then I've got, this is my other bookcase here. So let's start at the bottom. More reference material books. And then second shelf is more reference material books. And then we go up and we've got me images of war, and then these amber books, which are pretty good. I do like them, but my images of war are my favourites. Some brilliant books there. And then I've got a couple of Hilary Doyle's Sherman books, which I do like. I think they're ace. And then I've got my IDF one, Weapons of War, and then they've got that Panther, Abteilung Panther book. Then this shelf is projects that are on the go. So I've got the Asuka Sherman Firefly on the go at the minute. Man, it is a good kit, but I was after something that's quite easy and a bit of a mojo booster, and it's very Dragon-esque, as in, you know, engineered and stuff. This is Braden's first ever 135th kit. He's working on the Kubelwagen, and then he did that at the last time he was here, which is the 172nd Messerschmitt. And then this is my top shelf, which I keep other builds on. So that's the Styrene 5. That's my buddy build I'm doing with Bill Ray, as you can see. She's got the first bit of paint on. The tracks are done at the back, and the wheels are literally painted. I just need to do the weapons, and then just I've basically obliterated it with the hand drill, because I've seen some reference material of one that I'm trying to depict. And yes, your eyes aren't fooling you, it is blue and black, which I'm doing South Lebanese Army. So ones. There's some Doctor Who figures. I do quite like me old series and stuff. And then up here I've got just a couple of bits of stash that I've got that I want to sort of build this year. And I absolutely love half tracks, the US half tracks. And yeah, so, but I'm told the Dragon half tracks are pretty, they aren't the greatest of kits, but still, never mind. And then I've got a couple of bits of aircraft. That's that new B-17 from HK Models 148. There's a Tomcat, and there's an Asuka Thunderbolt Easy 8. And then there's that vehicle which I am looking forward to doing. Russian trumpeter kit, Stug 4, sorry, and then my Tamiya Hummel. And then basically we come back to where we are now. So that is, oh sorry, I'll tell you what else I haven't shown you. So there are my dioramas on that shelf here. Now we're back again over the construction part. Now on this shelf here, I've put Darth there, but he's going to be moving down here, because the kit that I'm working on the night time, or I'm working on in the day when I've got some time at the bench, I put on here, so I know where they are. Now all these boxes and trays here are basically old bits of spares for all my old builds I've got. Now that I got off my Cohen, and I thought that's a good idea. This is my camera holder for my bird's eye view, which is, oh, there's Darth, sorry, falling over the shelf. So there's my bird's eye view, but that's the thing I use. and then it's basically on this bracket, which you probably see it easier here. So basically I've attached some bars to the underneath there, to the shelf there. The bar comes out, and then I've attached a couple of screws there which hang down here. Now I did originally have this bar, it's just, which goes across, and then that was going to come on, but the grip's good, but it's not that good with having a camera at the end, and it starts slipping going down. So I'll just put a piece of wood, a knackered old piece of wood with a sort of square edge, so it won't slip, and it works a treat now. So that's that. And then up here is my shelf, which is empty, as you can see. Now that is going to be basically more sort of dioramas over time, and then I'm going to add a shelf there when I can, when I start obviously come onto them and I've built bits up. But this is basically the shelf for my next projects that are going to happen. So obviously here's my first ever build along I'm going to do on my YouTube channel, and there's all the books underneath, which are all my reference bits I'm going to be using. And then there is the tyres, the resin bit, and then I'm also, Bill, who I'm doing the buddy build with of the Styrene, is sending me the radio set for it, because I cannot get it anywhere over here. So that's that. A couple of pictures I've got on the wall which are my favourite sort of things. There's a couple of Doctor Who's. There's a famous old Doctor Who Daleks, Yoda. There's my Stormtrooper again, and then my Port Vale. I'm a massive Port Vale supporter who are shit. They're in League 2 of football. And there's a couple of you might notice what that is there. That is a 70s original Chewbacca figure. And then just a few more little bits. And then Sabutio character. Don't know if any of you can remember Sabutio. The flick to kick football game. So yeah, there you go. So, and then I've got a pin board for all the extra little bits and that are full model tracks thing, catalogue. So yeah, there you go then guys. So that's basically my tour of my cave. I'm going to try and do one each year if I can. Thanks all very much for joining me. I know it's been boring and you probably feel sick because of the cameras and everything moving, but what can you do? Cheers then guys, hope you're all well, hope you all stay safe, and may the force be with you. See you guys.